talk about Skiptrace. So Jackie Chan's worked with Chris Tucker in the Rush Hour films. They were great. They were funny. They were lit, as the kids say these days. He's also worked with Owen Wilson on a mediocre, but very entertaining for the most part, Shanghai Noon movies. Just my thoughts just in general. Now, do Owen Wilson and Chris Tucker have to worry about Johnny Knoxville being Jackie Chan's new boyfriend? That's a pretty big answer to, say right now, but I'm going to say no. Not at all. Not even close. The thing is, Johnny Knoxville and Jackie Chan, they just don't really mesh well together inside of this film. And unfortunately, this is a buddy cop movie. And if the two leads don't have good enough chemistry, the buddy cop aspect of this entire film, even though the rest of the film is kind of shit to begin with, but that really makes the film kind of fall flat. Now, overall, Jackie Chan does his best. And I mean, the guy is trying his hardest to fucking bring this movie up to the point where the movie just feels like it has a very low set of testosterone. And I said this before in another movie, but this movie has like no energy to it. But Chan brings up the action when he does his shit, and he's carrying most of the load, doing all the physicality stuff, especially at 62 years old. Now, granted, the fight choreography is not his best work, obviously, because in 80s and 90s, that was prime Chan. This is not prime Chan, but it's more like grandfather, even though that was racist, grandfather type Chan, where he's still kicking ass even at an old enough age. But where you have physical, then you have comedy, and that's where Johnny Knoxville comes in. Johnny Knoxville is supposed to be the comedy half of this buddy cop thing, and boy, is he not funny. The thing about Johnny Knoxville is just that I never really found him funny. I found him very quite annoying in this movie. Now, overall, I do feel like they have moments together that actually work well when it comes to their chemistry, and to the point where I would just be like, I like that. That's actually kind of funny. But unfortunately, I found Chan more funnier than the comic relief that is Johnny Knoxville, and therefore this movie just kind of falls a little bit flat. As I said, it kind of just drags sometimes, and I do feel like Chan is bringing the pain in this thing, which is good, because this movie needs something to kind of like get the adrenaline going. Overall, the story's predictable. I didn't really give a shit about the story, really. And the thing is, this movie does have a lot of cliches, right? And you kind of expect that. Rennie Harlin's the director in Long Kiss Goodnight, the shitty Hercules movie with Karen Lutz. He's done also Cutthroat Island and Die Hard 2. So he's a very hit and miss director. And I think he does a decent enough job here. He shoots nice locations, right, for the most part. Those are cool to see. He gets this fight choreography well. It's very nicely well done. It looks like a very well, lit movie for the most part. And that's great. Unfortunately, the cliches from the 80s or the 90s buddy cop movies, they don't really work that well here. If you would have done it in the same way you would have done it, but if you done it in a fresher way, I would not have minded that you were trying to blind me from the bullshit of your cliches through something that's slightly fresher to make them kind of like get shaken up. But unfortunately, they really don't do that, and therefore you could kind of write the cliches down on your hand before you see the movie, and most likely they will end up in the order that you wrote them in. Not joking. That's how predictable the movie is. Now, overall, like I said, the movie doesn't really do anything well for anybody, and I feel sorry for Jackie Chan, because I feel like he really wasn't in it that much. He tried his best. John Knoxville, I really could care less for. But I feel like Jackie Chan really could do something more here. I'd rather a Rush Hour 4. I'd rather anything. Just stick with Chris Tucker. That's just a simple fact. But just stick with Chris Tucker or whatever it may be. But Jackie Chan, I feel like he really didn't need this kind of average movie. Eve Torres, though, was kind of good. Maybe her accent was kind of off. Maybe that's me. Maybe I know also some CGI. But maybe that's just my thoughts just general. But overall, it is slightly entertaining. It's not the worst movie I've seen this year, but I kind of would have expected better. Maybe a couple of years ago when Knoxville was kind of like really at its peak with Jackass, this probably would have been cool. But unfortunately, it just kind of feels like a very big waste of time. Sean William Scott was the original choice for Knoxville's part. Maybe that would have been better. Anybody like Bulletproof Monk? I kind of like it. I don't know why. Me? Just me? Okay, whatever. But overall, like I said, a very decent, mediocre, but at the most, it's just a forgettable film. It's nothing really to it. It doesn't add anything. And granted, if you have nothing to do on the planet at all, on any day of the week, then sure, you can see this movie. But then again, it's up to you. It's your fucking wallet. And remember, I'm just a guy in a fucking hat. But I will have a question for you people that you most likely won't fucking answer. But I will say this. What is your first Jackie Chan movie that you ever saw? And two, what is your favorite Jackie Chan movie? And if you can answer a third one, what's the worst Jackie Chan movie you ever saw? Don't name The Spy Next Door. Don't name The Karate Kid. Even though that was kind of pretty solid, but for the most part. That's my thought. Comment, subscribe, and like. I'm Chris Smith, and I'm the guy with the hat. And I'm signing out.